Just a couple of more practice problems for Chapter 4 review, which also covers everything that you need to know for Chapter 3. If we have two tables, and from these tables we want to be able to come up with equations. Okay, and so we want, when I say we want to come up with an equation, we want something in the form y equals mx plus b, and we want that for both tables. We're just going to focus on this one for right now. So how do we find m? Well, from a table, remember m is, we have lots of different things. Change in y over change in x. That's what that triangle is, a change, it's delta, which is the same thing as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is the same thing as rise over run. Okay, all of these they mean the same thing. So what we need to do for a table is, well, what is the difference to get from 4 to 8? Well, it's 4. What is the difference to get from 1 to 2? That's 1. Okay, so that difference, we can use this change in y over change in x. Our change in y is a positive 4. So our slope is positive 4. Our change in x is just 1. So 4 over 1. So m equals 4 over 1. So we could say that y equals 4x plus b. Well, what would this b be? What would this b be? How do we find out what the b is? Well, we find out that the b is by going back to the table and taking one of these x values and replacing the x in our equation. Okay, because this is 4 times x. So instead of 4 times x, well, let's just take the 1. 4 times 1. So if we did 4 times 1, then we're supposed to come out with 4. So 4 is equal to 4 times 1 plus b. Well, 4 is equal to 4 plus b. 4 is already equal to 4. We don't have to add anything. This plus b or this minus b is going to be whatever it takes to get from here, from what happens after we multiply, to our y value, to get from this part of the table to this part of the table after we've applied the multiplication. And since we don't have to do anything, our b would be 0. So our final equation would be y equals 4x. If our equation ever comes out and it does not have a y-intercept, or the y-intercept is 0, then that means that this is a proportional relationship. So it starts at 0, 0 and follows this pattern. And that's really the only thing you need to know from Chapter 3 is what a proportional relationship is that it means you don't have a y-intercept. It starts at 0, 0. Okay, so that's how we find the equation. Let's try it with this one. And hopefully, at least with this one especially, make sure you try it on your own before you watch the video, before you watch the solution. Okay, pause the video, see if you can come up with an equation. Again, we're trying to do y equals mx plus b using this table. So see if you can come up with the equation and then see if your steps match my steps, or at least if your answer matches my answer. Okay, so it doesn't matter which 2 points I take the difference from. It's going to come out the same anyway, and at least with all of the ones that we'll give you. Okay, so I'm going to do this difference. I'm going to make my difference in x from 3 to 15. That's a difference of 12. And my change in y, a difference from 2 to 8, which is 6. Now you could do 1 to 3 and 1 to 2. You could do 1 to 24 and 1 to 12.5. It's not going to matter. You'll come out with the same answer anyway. So we have 6 is our y. So our slope is our change in y, which is 6, divided by our change in x, which is 12, which that reduces to 1/2. And so our function so far, or our equation so far, says y equals 1/2 x, and we need to figure out what b is. Okay, so to figure out what b is, again, we're going to go to our table, and we're going to plug in, and it doesn't matter which one we plug in, but we're going to plug in one of these x values and then see what we get out for y. So this time, let's do 15. We'll use 15 and 8. Okay, so if we plug in 15, we have 1/2 of 15, and if you want to use a calculator, that's fine, plus b. 1/2 of 15 is 7.5, or 7.5, and we're supposed to be at 8. So how do we get from 7.5 to 8? Well, we would be 1/2 short, right? So we need to add 1/2. And when we add 1/2, 7.5 or 7.5 plus 1/2 equals 8. So our b is equal to 1/2. And our final equation is y equals 1/2 x plus 1/2. Okay, and that's all there is to that. If you have more questions or you just want to try some more problems, I can come up with more of these tables. Just let me know. We can do it in a tutoring session, or I can even just send you guys the problems.